Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. So I hope everybody's having a great day because I have a great video set aside for today. And a lot of it comes down, and it's really good timing too, I think, because I ended up reading a bunch of comments that were saying basically, why would anybody sell gold and silver if it's going to go up? And, there's a lot of reasons why people sell gold and silver. However, that alone is not necessarily a fact. In most cases, in all cases, nobody knows for sure what the outcome is going to be for gold and silver, including myself. I have put a lot of time into looking up the data and seeing, what's going on with gold. I think it's inevitable that gold and silver will go up. It's not really a matter of the world coming to an end like some people might think, because I've heard that time and time again. I should probably do a video on that because I've heard that probably more than anything. But it's a matter of, what are they going to do? I mean, are they going to do the responsible thing and all of a sudden pay off the debt and go back on a gold and silver standard like our founding fathers wanted? No. Realistically, they are going to keep spending. And as they keep spending, they're going to keep paying interest on the money that we've already borrowed here in the United States. And in order to do that, they're going to keep printing. And it doesn't matter if you're in the United States, if you're in China, anywhere, Australia, England, Europe, wherever you want to pick. It's inevitable that they're going to keep printing money. The more they print money, the less it becomes worth. Why? Because it's a simple rule of supply and demand. If you overproduce something, then there's more of it, and essentially it's worth less. And as for people selling, I should have said in the beginning too, if you don't mind, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me if you enjoyed this video, because it really does help me out. We're trying to push our algorithm up a little higher, and by hitting that thumbs up or that subscribe button, you are helping me out. And if you disagree with anything that I say in this video, please do not hesitate to leave a comment, preferably a polite comment. It doesn't have to be mean, it can just be your honest opinion. Because there are people out there that don't believe gold and silver can go any higher. You got gold at an all-time high, and you got silver sitting at $30, which is an 11-year high. I can't say all-time high because they've been manipulating silver for too long. But, now we're starting to see it climb. And there's a lot of people out there that are selling because, one, they bought in cheap. Case in point, right here. I picked this up yesterday. This is a old gold coin. It's a maple. It's one of the early years. I picked this up pretty inexpensive. I was pretty happy with this pickup. As you can see, it's a 1981. I actually got called over to a friend's to see if I would test it with my Sigma and test some other stuff for him. And when it was all said and done, he's like, yep, I already got it sold. And I said, really? We talked for a few minutes, and yeah, he has someone that wanted it, but I happened to be there with the cash, and he said, you know what, I'll sell it to you. So I was pretty happy to have gotten this. Why did he sell it, though? He believes in gold and silver. He knows it's going to go up. But here's the thing. He is not in it for essentially a long-term wealth preservation. He buys, he sells, and he does hold a certain amount for himself. However, this is a big purchase. And we talked about that for a little bit. He goes, not a lot of people have $2,000 to buy an ounce of gold. And $2,000 is really an understatement. Technically, you're looking at $2,400 on average for an ounce of gold minimum. I haven't seen anything less out there unless it's like a person-to-person deal or something like that. In fact, just since I've owned this, I've already erased the premiums. I've already essentially made a profit just by holding it. So, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And he ain't trying to necessarily, he knows it's going to keep going up, but he can't tie up money into this coin. A lot of us that stack, we're holding this stuff. We are putting our wealth today into something sound that we believe is going to continue to go up in price. Now, we saw a big pullback in the last week, but it's not the whole thing. It's not the whole picture. It pulls back. Nothing goes up forever straight up. And once you realize that, and you realize that gold and silver is going to continue to go up, well, then the question does come up. If you believe all that, then why would anybody sell? Well, I've had to sell some stuff. And in some cases, I've even had to sell stuff at a loss. Why? Because obviously bills come up. Some unexpected event can come up. Now, I know a lot of people out there will say, well, you should have been saving dry powder is the proper term that a lot of them use. And, maybe holding a certain amount of dry cash or dry powder in the form of cash is a good thing. Have a fat savings account. I don't personally believe in that. Why? Because I believe that the dollar one of these days is going to continue to lose value at a faster and faster rate. I don't want to have too much in dollars. Now, I would have no trouble selling this coin to someone if I needed money tomorrow. I wouldn't want to sell it. There's a couple reasons why I wouldn't want to sell this. One, because it's a 1981, and as I looked it up, I was like, man, that's one of the early years of her running the show. I had to actually do a little history looking up to find out, because obviously, I'm not that old to where I remember what happened before her. Her husband passed away. She became the queen. She had it for a good long time. She passed away. Her son took over, and her son is now on the new coins. And he is not doing well, from what I understand, with cancer. So prayers go out to him, obviously. I don't want to see anybody pass away. But needless to say, where I'm going with that is, so people do sell when stuff comes up. And this gentleman had a big tax bill. His property taxes went up. He didn't have the money to pay it. What was his options? Well, I don't know how it is where you live, but I can tell you where I live, if you don't pay your taxes to the county, they end up penalizing you big time. What do I mean by that? I think you can get up to 15% interest, 10% interest, something like that, monthly. So let's say your taxes you owe on your property tax are $2,000. Tack 10% on for the first month. Now you're at $22. Tax another 10% on the second month. Now you're at $24.20. And it just continues to go up from there. So there's a lot of reasons why people will sell. Now, when I hear comments like that, I just think that, I feel bad for these people, because I think a lot of them have not really put the time in to understand what's going on. Now, most of you guys that are loyal subscribers to the channel, you guys understand gold and silver will go up. Will it go up to some of these astronomical numbers that maybe some channels talk about? Who knows? It's not going to happen tomorrow, realistically, because in order for that to happen, people would have to lose full faith in the US dollar. And chances are that is going to be a slow erosion. Why? Because essentially people don't have another plan in place. People have become accustomed to using the US dollar for everything, paying their bills, but little by little we are changing rules here in the United States that makes it easier for people to buy gold and silver. Case in point, when you go buy from a store or a coin shop or whatever, or even online now, most of the time, if you're buying, I don't know what the exact rules are, but if you're buying U.S. coins, gold and silver, and even bullion in some cases, every state is going to be different. I don't know which state everybody's in. But a lot of the taxes have been lifted on that to where you're not paying a sales tax. Now, unfortunately, I'm actually from Maine, although I don't live in Maine anymore, but Maine is one of them states that still charges taxes, which I think is totally unfair. Because, who wants to get taxed on money? In fact, we're taking real money and we're giving them paper. Think about that for a minute. I take this and I buy this and I get taxed. That doesn't even make sense to me. So, when I hear some of these rules, I get upset a little bit. And the truth of the matter is, the rules are changing because they know what's coming. They know that this system is basically, it can't last. It can't continue on forever. Why? Because it just doesn't add up. How are we going to pay the amount of debt that the United States owes? We owe $24 trillion. That's not sustainable. We spend more than we take in. In fact, I think at last I looked, the debt to GDP ratio, we were looking at basically 1.25. I could be wrong on that. 125%. Think about that. That's not sustainable. That's basically a house. Think of a person, and a house, and they're making maybe, $100 a week, and they're spending $125 a week. Or they're making $1,000 a week, and they're spending $1,250 a week. That cannot last. Now, a lot of people out there believe that the US dollar as the world reserve currency is untouchable. But just like in the real world, if you continue to spend more than you make, naturally, eventually, they're going to cut you off. Now, some people will say, well, it's not like you can cut off the Fed. The Fed sells the bonds, and then they turn the money over to the government, and then the government gets to spend the money. And in a way, that's right. They can keep printing bonds. But at the end of the day, who's going to buy those bonds? Well, right now, we've had a lot of banks buying the bonds, but now banks are kind of in trouble. And that's for a whole nother video. Banks are in trouble, and then we've had countries buying them up. A lot of other countries. China had a ton of them for a long time, but they're in the process of selling off a lot of theirs. Why? Because we've used it as essentially a weapon. And as this continues to happen, more and more people are going to want to get away from U.S. debt. Now, a lot of people will say that can never happen because the U.S. is the number one consumer out there. We use so much stuff, it's unbelievable. But do we really pay for that stuff? I mean, a lot of that is just because everybody's borrowing money. They're putting it on credit cards. I mean, the average person, I'm not even convinced, has a positive net worth. Now, by positive net worth, I'm excluding, some people are going to say, oh no, houses are up. Houses are up, but what's stopping the housing prices from coming down? Your vehicle, most people are upside down on the vehicle. Most people are upside down on their credit cards. A lot of people are upside down on their house, but there are going to be a handful that are ahead of the game. How many people are debt-free? Not many. So with that being said, when I hear the argument, we're the number one consumer out there, it's not sustainable. And with that being said, the only way it can be sustained is by them essentially lowering interest rates, which they will probably do eventually, and then create more money. And who knows, maybe they'll even do some kind of stimulus. Maybe we'll come up with a central bank digital currency and we'll give everybody some for free, and then people will be like, oh, I'll take some free money. But at the end of the day, these are unsustainable programs. But you know what is sustainable? If we were on gold and silver and we took away the credit, people would have to essentially go to work, produce something in order to sell it to get money to buy something else. And once people realize that, it really does change the game. And the facts are, gold and silver are going to continue to go up, just like they always have been. I mean, think back when gold was, I remember when it was $400 an ounce, even though I laughed at the guy for telling me about gold. I thought that was the dumbest thing out there. You're going to spend $400 on a little coin like this? And it seemed crazy to me. And then you think it's going to go to what? 1,000? Nah, that never happened. It's not going to happen. 2,000? I want some of whatever you're drinking because obviously it's pretty good. But look at it now. I mean, we're at 2,500 essentially. That ain't spot price. Someone out there might correct me on that. We're technically at 23.50 right now. 23.70, I'm sorry. 23.70 right now. The truth of the matter is, it's going to continue to go up. And that's inevitable. And it doesn't mean the world has to come to an end. When this was $400 an ounce, the world was still functioning, just like it's functioning now at 23.50. So don't think for a minute that the world has to come to an end for gold and silver to go up. It doesn't. And here's the thing. Just like the people out there said, when this was $400 an ounce, it will never go to 2,000. And clearly we've blew that out of the water. They're saying the same thing on silver. Well, silver's at 30. It's not like it could ever go to 100. Why? Why couldn't it? A lot of people can't afford this coin. This coin, it's expensive. It's an ounce of gold. But you know what they can afford? 75 ounces of silver. It's the same price, same amount of money. They're going to take the silver over the gold. And if they can't afford the same amount of money, they can afford one at $35, whereas they're not going to be able to afford one of these. So, and if they need money, they understand they can sell them quick. Now, are there predators out there that are going to try to get your gold and silver dirt cheap? Well, of course there are. I mean, that's anywhere. If you just bought it and you think you're going to get rich quick overnight, you're probably not going to get rich quick overnight, but it is a wealth preservation. So it's something to think about. This is not me trying to pump you on gold and silver. I don't care if you buy gold or silver or you don't. It's my opinion that it's going to continue to go up. And it's not just my opinion. There's a lot of people out there that have opinions. Now, some of these people have maybe gold and silver websites, or they benefit in some way. I don't benefit. So, it's something to think about. I'm telling you guys what I believe in, and the numbers add up. That gold and silver are going to go a whole lot higher. So if you have the opportunity to pick up a little bit, even in the form of, I understand I've had numerous comments before, I don't have that kind of money to be buying gold and silver. This is a Mercury dime right here. You can pick this Mercury dime up for about $2.30. And it's a start. It's a small amount of silver. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you can pick up stuff. And usually if you're brand new to stacking and you go to a coin store, I'm convinced if you tell them, look, I don't have a lot of spending money. I heard some guy on YouTube talking about gold and silver. I want to just get a little tiny bit. I only have $50 to my name. Can you give me a good deal on something silver that would actually help me and my family if something crazy happened? I would almost be willing to bet they would take care of you, because I would. I've talked to people before and I'm like, you know what? Melt price is XYZ. You can have it for XYZ. You can have it for melt price. I'm not out to make the money. I'm happy if I can make money off something, but on the flip side, I want to help people. And there's a lot of coin shops out there that are going to try to do the same. And here's the thing. There's always going to be people selling, because there's always going to be people that need money for whatever the thing. The truth of the matter is people need money more and more now than ever before. Why? Because prices of everything, excuse me, prices of everything are going up. And as that continues to go up, it's going to cause more people to have to sell. And the price of gold and silver is going up. And, to some people, like the person that had this, they're like, you know what, I'm happy. I made a couple $100 off it. And that's true, he did. So he don't really look at it like what's going to happen down the road. He's looking at it did what it was supposed to do. It protected some of his savings. It went up in value in terms of everything went up in value. And then he got to sell it and get a nice little return. But if he had kept the same amount of money, we'll say $1,800 in his bank account, it would still be $1,800. So something to think about. I thank everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this gave you something to think about. And if you did enjoy the video, you made it this far and you're not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And thank you all for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.